Hello, welcome to Live Reality. Hello, welcome to Live Reality Game Podcast. My name is Steven, and I am back with surviving Reelfoot content, which I'm so excited by for this new season, Unfinished Business, starring 21 returning players. And I have got him with me, finally, the Holy Grail, Parker, the current host of Surviving Reelfoot. Parker, how are you doing?
Hey, Steven, thank you for the introduction, man. Always a pleasure.
I have to ask, how does it feel to be hosting a season for the first time?
Oh man, I mean it's it's surreal, honestly. I started as a player in Reelfoot, became a production member, and now getting to host a season, not only a returning player season, but just one of this magnitude. It's really fun. It's a surreal feeling. I still am pinching myself. I don't feel like it's quite real.
Well, we had to, because we didn't do anything preseason, just
Yeah,
because I might have been off playing somewhere else. But Unfinished Business.
yeah.
Talk me up this title and how you feel players are embodying it.
Yeah, so unfinished business came from, coming back. A lot of the alumni, I felt like some of them played quiet games. Uh, you know, some of them played really bold games, but that's what got them hooked out. Some of them got unlucky with swaps or just twists out of their control. Some of them were completely behind their own demise. So how do you kind of put all these great alumni who have more to show under one umbrella? And I thought, well, all of them to some degree have unfinished business left in the game, and that's just kind of what it came to. I feel like all of them had more they wanted to do, whether it be moves, more they had to prove to themselves or their family, and I feel like everybody so far in the game is really taking it seriously. I remember when I first announced the name of the season,
Mm-hmm.
and the players were very excited. They were wondering, okay, how did this specific group come together? And then when I said the theme, a lot of them even told me, oh wow, that makes sense. That's really cool. So a lot of them, I think, really are excited for it.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, there are no returning winners this season, correct?
Correct. Everybody did not win, and everybody's only played one time.
And what I love is that we see a range of players from people who go early game to people who make the final trial but cancel, all people who are hungry for that victory.
Absolutely. That was the thought. I've always thought that one thing about these live games is it's not the real show, so they don't have to worry about, oh, maybe the audience doesn't remember this person, or oh, this person wasn't really, or this person was a huge fan favorite kind of thing. I'm like, look, regardless of placement, do they have a story? Would they be good? Is there more to show, kind of thing? And
Mm-hmm.
and that placement is irrelevant in that factor.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to talk about what have been some of your favorite moments or things that have stood out to you in this pre-merge? Because I
Yep.
admit I've been frantically trying to catch up on things, so I'm curious to
Yep.
know what has really stood out to you.
Oh my gosh, Steven. Well, I think one of the big things that has affected this pre-merge is this season we implemented for the first time Reelfoot Sean the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you see on the Real Show, the past 4 seasons of Survivor, only one Sean the Dark has worked correctly, and on top of that, that person didn't even get any votes,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. But not once, but twice in this pre-merge has Sean the Dark worked, and it negated all the votes for that person, meaning someone got sent home with just one rogue vote
Mm-hmm.
twice. Like, I couldn't have even imagined it happening one time just because the odds are so low. But to happen twice, it was unreal. As a host, you hate to see people go out in such a crazy fashion,
Mm-hmm.
but just from an entertainment factor, it's been quite unpredictable to watch. But though, just the round that Nate went out and the round that Frank went out, they were both, Josh and Skylar were the majority vote getters, but they played their shot in the dark and it worked. And unfortunately, Nate and Frank went out, but just from an entertainment factor, those votes were completely unpredictable.
Well, I think it's kind of shows that we as players need to think more about the possibility. When we see that 1 in 6 shot, we see it never work and see this survivor just like, let them. They're like, well, like what's the worst that can happen, right? 1 in 6 doesn't seem too high, but here we have maybe it's just the lightning story of all the 1 in 6s are converted, or maybe every scroll says safe, and that's the twist of the season.
That would be funny. Now, as much as that would be kind of funny, some of the Shaun the Darks some players have also played Shaun the Darks and it hasn't worked. So it's not all safe. I can't confirm that. But a lot of the players who've been voted out have played Shaun the Dark. Some of the players still, obviously, the the two, Josh and Skylar, no longer have a shot in the dark because they played it. So, but I don't think the pre-merge will be the end of shot in the dark. I don't think so. I think players are keeping it back of their mind, especially now that it's worked not only once but twice. It's certainly making people have to think about who all they tell who the vote is.
And that Frank vote ends up having some ramification. It feels like some players have strong reactions to Frank going home like that.
Absolutely. It was, it was crazy. That new Achila tribe, that swapped Achila tribe, had won all 3 previous swapped challenges, right? So they didn't have to test the waters. They were just on a winning streak. And then once Frank got voted out, it was not only were people very upset about that, a lot of people who wanted to work with Frank. It was the first time that this swap tribe has to now show their cards, and it was absolute chaos. Steven, that live tribal council was another highlight for me. I don't know about every tribal in Reelfoot history, but at least as far as I can remember, I don't remember people walking off into groups, game changer style. I don't remember somebody saying, can you come talk to us? Not you, but can you come here real quick? It was just absolute chaos and anarchy. As a host, I have to remind myself I'm a host and not a viewer because I just want to sit there and watch. But I have to remember I have to navigate this thing.
Players haven't even been shy about playing idols either. They've also been coming out pre-merge. People are just not going to wait with these things.
And I think obviously part of that is being returning player season. Obviously, they want to come out and be big and bold and entertaining, whatever. But I think a lot of it is, I think for a lot of these people, one of their biggest regrets was not being more bold. I think they thought they were too passive the first time. They didn't stand up for something they wanted to happen more, in fear of standing out too much. But this time around, I think a lot of players are remembering, if I'm going to lose, I don't want to go out that way again. So we're seeing people grabbing the bull by the horn, so to speak.
And one of the things I kind of heard some players mention a little bit is that the conditions seem pretty hard this season. Not a lot of food. There's been some rain, so definitely the elements are coming a factor. Talk to me about how that seems to be affecting the players.
Yeah, it's certainly the weather. We've had a couple of. It's been funny. It hasn't rained all day yet, but there's been periods. Right. Thank you.
For you in production, all.
Yes. please, for everyone involved, no rain. But it's been strong downpours. It's been quite hot, which is not anything new for Reelfoot, especially in Tennessee. But it's not easy either. The food situation has been scarce. We thought, and we're never going to put them in any actual danger when it comes to lack of food. But you kind of want them to, since it's their second time playing, test them a little bit. They know what they can and can't handle. But it's certainly been tough, and a lot of them are dealing with it the best they can. But honestly, all of them are just so excited to be here. I think they'll sit through about anything just to stay in the game, and that's a really cool sight to see.
Well, maybe we're bearing the lead because we're at the merge. At the merge. We've had the first merge challenge, and at least they got a merge feast. Now, it didn't look like it was showering food, but players can't complain. There looked like there was enough food for everyone.
There was food. It's one of those things where at that point, at least for me, I remember when I played, I didn't care what it was. You get so hungry to the point where it's like, I'll eat anything. Anything sounds good. Just give me something to eat. So a lot of them were at that point. They're like, I just need something, we're walking all the time. We're doing these competitive challenges. I'm mentally taxed. I need something in my body. So I think a lot of them, that was helpful for them.
Now, the merge tribe, this seems to be like pretty evenly split between these original 3 tribes, right? We have 4 of each, and I think Yellow has walked in with 5. And so, do you have any predictions or ideas of where people are going to be, like where these merge votes might be heading to at the start?
And Steven, if I had an answer for that, I would sell it and make lots of money because I don't know. I feel like it's funny, even on production, we have amazing tribe handlers and amazing challenge people, and they're getting the information from the players via confessionals. And even still, the plans can change. People can change their opinion on somebody. It's just all over the place. I couldn't tell you, and not that I was completely shocked by all the votes in the pre-merge, but just the way fallout has happened and the way alliances have shifted and people have either changed their opinions on others or decided to work with somebody, even if they're not the favorite person. It makes for a very unpredictable merge just because everybody is looking out for themselves. I truly think so. And I think nobody is content with getting second. I think all of them are trying to do what's best for themselves. So as at this moment, I really don't know. It's kind of funny in a returning player season. Well, you have to ask yourself, what is a threat? And what is a threat and who is a threat is different depending on who you ask. So any one of these people could be voted out for X, Y reason.
So I'm curious then, if you had to just make a bet, like, do you think the original red and blue are teaming up against yellow? Do you think people are going to more of operate in the swap tribes?
Yeah.
You think the swap tribes matter? Because people are on the swap tribes longer than I have voted more with them at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Sorry. I was just responding yep to you, like, yep, there are the original tribes. Yes. So swap tribes, I don't think in particular are going to matter. Only because the as you saw with the Lydia vote, that tribe, the New Achila tribe, was not on the same page. That live tribal council was evidence of that. And then the previous vote where Brent was voted out, there was still majority New Achila. However, Brent got sent home, and I think it was Amber said herself at tribal that battle lines have been drawn. So I don't know that. I don't think even the swapped Aquoni tribe are going to stick together as a strong six. I think there's relationships in there, but I don't see that being like us six going to the end, especially not that Skylar had to play a shot in the dark just to save herself and all these other things. So I don't think swap tribes are going to matter as much. I do think original tribal lines still play a factor, especially for the yellows, because they have the most still in the game. But like you said, Josh, he was almost sent home on his OG Aquoni tribe, the blue tribe, and he had to play a shot in the dark. I don't think he's loyal to that. The red tribe is very dysfunctional. So I think honestly it just comes I think it's going to come down to more individual relationships more than anything else.
So are there any players that you specifically have an eye on? Like any players that you are really curious to see what they're going to do from here?
So it's funny because this is, from what I gather, Carly on the original Galelo, the yellow tribe, was a bit on the outs. But she never had to go to tribal council until the Lydia vote. And in that time, Carly was actually considering flipping on her original yellows. However, when it came time to the Lydia vote, she did vote with them. So is she going to stick with them for the long haul? Does she know that maybe she's not in the hierarchy, but they need her now as a vote? They certainly do. Is she going to contemplate other alliances now that it's emerged in a whole new game? I don't know that, but that's certainly Carly's an interesting one to watch just because of her positioning. Sharif has played a very interesting game. He started the game, I think it was day one. Basically, everyone wanted to be his number one. Very similar, Stephen, to what happened in last season.
That sounds familiar.
Sounds very familiar, but since then he's had to go a lot of tribal councils and he's had to make a lot of moves. He's certainly been in a lot of conversations, so he's one to watch. And obviously, Todd,
the Todd father returns. You have no idea how excited I am, Parker.
Are you excited for the Todd father, Stephen?
The Todd father already won his first immunity. I mean, he did. It's only go up from here.
Todd father's been interesting. He only went to one pre-merge tribal council and he just won the first individual immunity. He's always an interesting watch. And Amber, obviously, Amber played an idol for Reynolds. It didn't work, but she has since found another idol. And who knows what she's going to do now. She obviously has a lot of attention on herself. Can she get out of this predicament? I don't know.
We have a question from John V. Do we see a twist coming for the Loud players to return the game? Maybe a certain lady returns and a big shocker, Justin McCoopy returns in the game? Is this what we're going to see?
It happened for Lydia once. Not this season, unfortunately. As fun as that would be, not this time around.
One player I'm very excited to see play is Austin. I got to play with Austin my first game ever, and Austin played a very savvy middle of the road game that season. I'm curious to see what Austin's gonna do here. I I don't know. Also, I'm so far behind. I just have no idea.
Austin's been fun to watch as well. Austin has this. He's just, you and I have interacted with him. Anyone who's interacted with Austin knows he is just so friendly, and he's funny, and he's kind, and he's not intimidating at all. And I think that draws people to him. Austin's had a really solid pre-merge. He's gone to a lot of tribal councils, and normally Austin likes to play in the background as long as he can. But this time he's been put in situations where he's had to make a choice. Austin was the sole vote to send home Frank the round he went home when Skylar player shone the dark. So Austin's definitely been more in the forefront than I think he'd like to be, but he still has good connections. I think there's still plenty of people who want to work with him. He's been a really fun one to watch.
Well, do you have anything to tease us with what to expect this coming merge, or just pure chaos?
So I think this upcoming merge, it's going to be interesting because everybody is playing so hard already. And and when I say playing hard, it may not be like the flashy, like in your face spouting words kind of flashy for all of them, but make no mistake, all of them want this. All of them are playing hard, whether it's socially, whether it's in the challenges, whether it's strategically, all of them are fighting their heart out. And I think what you're going to expect is a really interesting end game. I think these players know that their competition is high caliber. And I think whoever is the one who's crowned this season is going to really earn it.
Well, I guess I really have only one last question to throw at you. Were the Season 7 players just too good to be considered for this cast? Were you just worried the Season 7 players would come in and just run the show? Just like, no, we got to make it fair. We can't bring Season 7 into this.
That is absolutely the reason, Steven. I thought Season 7 would sweep the game. I thought it was too unfair. No,
you heard it here first. Jumi would dominate this cast and any cast she put into it. Therefore, we have to save her for a different season.
Absolutely. No, people from Season 7 were certainly asked. Just with timing and schedule, it doesn't work out.
Life
but
happens.
I was disappointed that not only just for certain individuals that couldn't play for whatever reason, but I would have loved to have Thick as Thieves Season 7 represented. But I think I'm really happy with the players here. That I hope it's been fun to watch. So far, the fans have said they're really enjoying it. I think the challenges have been fun. This gameplay's been off the charts. I'm excited to see how it ends. I truly have no idea what's going to go on from here.
One minor compliment. I don't know what magic you're doing, but your audio is wonderful this season, and I thank you for this.
Thank you. Thank you. We've tried some new things. We definitely, in addition to going live like normally, one thing we've done is pre-record things and upload them because in our current location, we didn't have it the last 2 years. We have Wi-Fi now. So I think that's been a big difference. It's so funny how just one little change can make all the difference in the video and audio quality. But I think that's a large part of what it is.
Well, Parker, I've stolen about 20 minutes of your time. I know you probably have other stuff to tend to, most of all, probably food and sleep and rest, because production is playing this and doing it just as much worth, even not more than the players right now, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I appreciate you so much for wanting to take the time, especially after you just got done with the game. I can't thank you enough, Steven, for even wanting to jump in and watch it. I think everybody who wants to watch and follow along. No, I can't thank the viewers and especially the production team enough. They've all worked so hard. They are so committed to making sure the season is as good as it can be, working hard. It's a phenomenal production team, and it's a phenomenal cast. I'm really enjoying it. I appreciate you following along in the kind words.
Well, Parker, I just want to say thank you again for taking the time tonight, because I know this is a crazy day for you, especially with being merged. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening. Hopefully there'll be more Surviving Reelfoot content later this week, and most likely bukus of interviews postseason with the players. Woo! Thank you all, and have a good evening.